Moving into an established neighborhood, it often feels a bit like walking onto a stage where a play has already been running for like 20
Oh,
years.
absolutely. The set is totally built.
Right. You are stepping into this dynamic that is completely foreign to you, but everyone else, they have their parts memorized.
Yeah, it's this deeply ingrained social ecosystem. The cast knows all their blocking, and the audience is just firmly seated.
Exactly. And you are essentially the invasive species,
Pretty
right?
much, yeah.
You're just trying to figure out how to blend into an environment that was, well, doing just fine without you. You have to figure out your role on the fly.
Which is incredibly stressful.
It is. You inherit the previous owner's highly questionable landscaping choices.
Yeah.
You have to navigate these entrenched block politics.
Right, like figuring out which neighbor is secretly feuding with the HOA president.
Yes. Or learning very quickly whose lawn you absolutely should not let your dog walk on.
Oh, that is a big one.
I mean, you are basically just trying not to bump into the furniture while the performance goes on around you.
Which is exactly why the first few years in an older, pre-existing community are almost entirely defined by adaptation. You are molding your lifestyle
Yeah.
to fit the rigid contours of their existing culture.
Right. But imagine if you could walk into a completely empty theater. Like, there is no set. There are no veteran actors giving you the side eye.
That changes everything.
It really does. You and a whole bunch of other people, you all walk through the front doors at the exact same time, and together you get to build the stage.
Did you cast the play?
Exactly. You write the script completely from scratch, and that blank slate environment is exactly what we are exploring with you today. Welcome to the deep dive.
Glad to be here.
So our focus for you today is this really fascinating set of source materials from a group called New Home University, and it centers on a massive brand new real estate development called Watermark at Westphalia.
And we should clarify, this isn't just an architectural review.
No, not at all.
The materials we are looking at, they provide this incredible window into human behavior. We are really looking at the underlying mechanics of community formation.
Right. We aren't going to just sit here and read a glossy real estate brochure to you.
Yeah.
Our mission today is to dig into the deep psychology behind buying into a completely untouched community.
And to explore how a highly unique, education-first approach to real estate might fundamentally alter the way we view the entire home buying process.
Perfectly said. Okay, let's unpack this.
Well, I think the best place to start is with the sheer physical reality of the project because, the geography dictates the sociology.
I like that. Let's lay out the footprint then. The sources tell us that Watermark at Westphalia is being spearheaded by a developer named D.R. Horton.
Right.
It is located in Upper Marlboro, Maryland, sitting right inside Prince George's County. And honestly, the scale of this project is what immediately caught my eye.
It is massive.
It really is. This community is slated to include approximately 636 homes.
636 units,
Yeah.
just rising from the dirt simultaneously.
Which is wild. That makes it one of the largest new home communities currently under construction in that entire region. And I kind of want to pause on that number
Sure.
because building 636 homes isn't just, a heavy construction project.
Yeah.
That is essentially spawning a mid-sized village out of thin air.
Yeah, you aren't just pouring a few driveways.
No, you are carving out an entirely new piece of municipal geography on a map.
It requires just a staggering amount of logistical foresight. I mean, you are introducing the equivalent of a small town's population into one specific geographic node.
Which brings me to a detail in the sources that I really, really need you to dissect for me.
Okay, lay it on me.
So out of those 636 homes, about 600 of them are townhomes. Only 36 are single-family detached homes.
Wow, yeah, that is quite a ratio.
Right. My immediate cynical reaction to that ratio is that it's just, a developer playing the volume game.
Squeezing every dime out of the land.
Exactly. Cramming as many sellable doors onto the acreage as legally permitted by the county.
I get why you'd think that, but I wouldn't dismiss it as just a volume play. What's fascinating here is how deliberate that density is for actual community building.
Deliberate how?
Well, when you look at modern suburban planning, especially in highly desirable, high-traffic corridors like Prince George's County, the philosophy has shifted. It's moved dramatically away from those sprawling cul-de-sac subdivisions of the 1990s.
Okay, so a ratio of 600 townhomes to 36 single-family homes reflects what exactly?
It reflects a distinctly modern approach to high-density, cohesive living.
I mean, I understand the efficiency of high density, but How does sharing a wall with your neighbor translate to a better community?
It forces interaction.
But if anything, I would think packing 600 families that closely together just creates friction, like noise complaints and parking wars.
What creates proximity, right? And proximity fosters connection. If you live in a traditional suburban layout, you are separated from your neighbor by this massive sweeping lawn.
True, and a long driveway.
Right, and a 6-foot privacy fence. You can easily go months without speaking to the person living 50 feet away from you.
Yeah, I've definitely lived in places where I didn't know the people next door for like 2 years.
Exactly. But townhome architecture inherently fosters a tighter neighborhood environment. You share immediate walkways, you park in closer proximity, you utilize the same localized green spaces.
Oh, I see.
It essentially engineers serendipitous encounters.
So it manufactures that village feel by simply removing the physical barriers that usually isolate us in the suburbs.
Precisely. And it solves a major macro-level logistical problem, too.
Which is?
Land. Building 600 detached single-family homes requires an astronomical amount of land. And that pushes developments further and further away from urban centers, employment hubs, and existing infrastructure.
Creating those terrible commutes.
Right. By heavily skewing the blueprint toward townhomes, the developer can offer 600 families a place to live without paving over half the county. Or, like you said, forcing residents into brutal 2-hour commutes.
That makes total sense from an urban planning perspective. You are creating a concentrated node rather than an endless sprawl.
Exactly.
But, laying the pipes and pouring the foundations for 600 townhomes, that is only half the battle. If you want to actually fill a brand new village with human beings, you have to sell them on the psychological idea of a fresh start.
And that transition from physical construction to psychological marketing is where the source material gets highly strategic.
It really does. The sources from New Home University lean incredibly hard into the concept of newness.
Very hard.
They emphasize that in Watermark at Westphalia, absolutely everything is a blank slate. The text explicitly lists it out. It says, quote, new streets, new sidewalks, new homes, new neighbors, new parks, new memories.
Yeah, they really hammer that home.
They do. And they specifically note that buyers are deeply drawn to being among what they call the first families in a brand new neighborhood.
The first families concept is a powerful sociological trigger.
Okay, I want to push back on that, though.
Go for it.
Because when I read new streets, new sidewalks, new memories, my brain immediately translates that to we poured some fresh concrete and slapped a premium price tag on it.
Sure. The skeptical view.
Right. Is there a genuine, measurable psychological benefit to having a pristine sidewalk and being a first family? Or is this just flashy, feel-good marketing designed to sell units? I mean, uncracked concrete doesn't cure loneliness.
It's completely fair to be skeptical of the marketing spin. But if we connect this to the bigger picture of behavioral sociology, there is a profound, documentable draw to the blank slate effect.
All right, so it's not just a sales gimmick.
No, because it is absolutely not about the concrete itself. It is about the social vacuum that the concrete represents.
A social vacuum? Break that down for me.
Think back to our theater analogy from the start. When you move into an older pre-existing community, the culture is rigidly locked in.
Right.
There's an unspoken hierarchy. Maybe there's a neighborhood watch committee that takes itself way too seriously.
Well, there always is.
Or an HOA board that has been fighting the exact same petty parking battle since 1998.
Yeah, that baggage.
You are entering an environment heavy with historical baggage, and your only option is to assimilate.
You just keep your head down and try not to make the local dictator mad.
Exactly. But when you are a first family in a development of 636 homes, that hierarchy does not exist.
Because nobody is there yet?
Right. Nobody knows each other.
Yeah.
Everyone is arriving on day one with their moving trucks. This creates a state of shared vulnerability.
Interesting.
You are all pioneers on the same completely unmapped frontier. And sociologically, when humans are placed in a novel environment with zero established dominance hierarchies.
It accelerates cooperative bonding.
Yes.
Yeah, because you have to rely on each other to figure out the new baseline. You get to collectively decide what the culture of the neighborhood is actually going to be.
You are weaving the social fabric from the very first thread. You and those other early arrivals decide if this is the kind of block that does, summer barbecues together, or if it's a quiet, keep-to-yourself kind of place.
You set the tone.
You decide the tone of the community meetings. So the new sidewalks aren't just physically clean. They are socially clean.
Oh, wow, that is a great way to put it.
For a lot of buyers, the opportunity to escape the toxic politics of an old neighborhood and help design the social DNA of a new one from scratch, that is an incredibly compelling proposition.
That fundamentally reframes how I view new construction. It's not just buying a house that hasn't been lived in, it's buying into a social dynamic that hasn't been corrupted yet.
Precisely.
But, okay, that naturally leads me to wonder about the demographics. Because if the blank slate is universally appealing, who exactly is packing up their moving trucks to be the pioneers of this new Maryland community?
Who is it built for?
Right. Who is Watermark at Westphalia actually targeting?
Well, the sources provide a demographic breakdown that seems, on the surface, almost too broad to be actionable.
Yeah, they really do. The text explicitly outlines 4 distinct target audiences.
Yeah.
They say this community is a perfect fit for you if you are buying your first home. It's for you if you are looking for more space. It's for you if you want less maintenance. And it's for you if you are seeking newer construction with modern features.
It attempts to cast a very, very wide net.
And here's where it gets really interesting to me. Looking at that list, it reads like a massive contradiction.
How so?
Well, how can one single community architecture be the ideal fit for a budget-conscious, first-time buyer who is just starting out?
Right.
And D, be the perfect fit for a growing family that desperately needs to upgrade for more square footage, and simultaneously serve an older demographic actively trying to downsize their maintenance chores. In traditional real estate, those 3 groups are searching for entirely different types of properties in entirely different zip codes.
You are absolutely right. In a traditional sprawl model, yes, they are completely segregated.
Yeah.
The first-time buyers are in the starter home subdivisions. The growing families are way out in the massive 4-bedroom cul-de-sacs, and the downsizers are in age-restricted retirement enclaves.
Which creates these demographic monocultures.
Exactly, which means neighborhoods lose that generational diversity.
Right.
But this brings us perfectly back to the architecture of this specific project, that 600-to-36 ratio we talked about.
The townhomes.
Yes. Modern townhome design is the mechanism that bridges those seemingly contradictory demographics. It functions as an architectural equalizer.
Okay, I'm struggling to see how a townhome solves for a growing family's need for space while also appealing to someone who wants to downsize. Doesn't one group end up compromising?
Not with modern vertical design. Let's look at the growing family seeking more space. Instead of expanding outward with a massive geographic footprint,
They build up.
modern townhomes build up. You often see a multi-level layout. You get a garage and flex space on the ground floor, a massive open concept living and dining area on the middle floor, and 3 or 4 bedrooms on the top tier.
Wow, okay.
It provides the high-volume interior square footage a family needs, without the exorbitant price tag of a detached home in that same county.
Okay, so the verticality solves the interior space issue for the families. But what about the older demographic, or even busy professionals looking for less maintenance?
Right.
If you have a massive multi-level home, aren't you just trading one set of chores for another?
But the maintenance they're trying to escape isn't usually the interior vacuuming, it's the exterior burden.
Oh, like the yard.
Think about owning a 30-year-old single-family property. You are personally responsible for replacing the aging roof, maintaining the massive lawn, cleaning the gutters, power washing the siding, shoveling the long driveway.
It is endless, weekend-ruining labor.
It really is. A townhome community structure typically handles the vast majority of that exterior envelope maintenance and landscaping for you.
Oh. So the downsizer gets to keep enough interior space to live comfortably and host family, but they essentially outsource the heavy physical labor to the community structure.
Precisely. And the first-time buyer gets their foot in the door with a new build that doesn't require an immediate $20,000 roof repair.
Wow, so it works for everyone.
What you end up with is a deliberate sociological melting pot. You avoid the trap of a demographic monoculture. You have young families bringing energy, first-time buyers bringing upward mobility.
And older residents bringing stability.
Exactly, and perhaps a daytime presence that adds to the neighborhood's security. They're all sharing those same new sidewalks.
It is a beautifully designed microeconomy of life stages.
It really is.
But, here is the massive hurdle that the sources acknowledge. Navigating that purchase is terrifying.
Incredibly.
Figuring out if you fit into one of those demographics, securing the complex financing for a new build, understanding the phased timeline of construction, it is incredibly daunting.
Especially for a first-time buyer.
Which brings us to the methodology being used to actually sell these 636 homes.
And this is perhaps the most disruptive element in the materials we reviewed. It's a framework that completely abandons the traditional adversarial real estate paradigm.
Yeah. The sources introduce us to the specific team driving this project, the people from New Home University.
Right.
They highlight Jubril Wilson, who explicitly goes by Coach JB, and Renee Washington, the sales consultant for the Watermark community. You can find their whole platform at newhomeuniversity.com.
And they are taking a very different approach.
Yes. What grabbed my attention wasn't their titles, it was the core philosophy that serves as the foundation for their entire operation.
The mantra that relationships are everything.
Yes. They repeat it constantly. They fundamentally frame the act of buying a home not as a point-of-sale transaction, but as a long-term relationship built on education, trust, and service.
Which is so rare.
Their stated objective isn't just to close a deal, it's to help families make highly confident, informed decisions. They position themselves to walk with you through the entire syllabus of homeownership, explaining every contingency and option.
It is a radical departure from the industry standard.
I was trying to conceptualize this, and the best analogy I could come up with is that they are functioning like a real estate college counselor.
Oh, I like that.
Right, because usually buying a house feels like you are trapped on a lot with a high-pressure used car salesman.
Yeah, sign here, sign here.
Exactly. The agent just wants you to sign the confusing paperwork, take the keys, and get out of their hair so they can hit their monthly quota. It's a zero-sum game.
And the buyer's anxiety is often weaponized to speed up the close.
Which is terrible. But the New Home University approach feels entirely different. Think about applying to college.
Oh, a nightmare.
Right. It is terrifying, wildly expensive, and full of dense bureaucracy. A good college counselor doesn't just hand you a blank application and yell at you to sign it before the deadline.
No, they guide you.
They sit down, analyze your unique situation, and teach you how the system works. They coach you. And that is literally the title Jubril Wilson uses, Coach JB.
Right, the coaching aspect.
You are paired with an educator who treats you like a student mastering a vital life skill rather than treating you like a walking checkbook.
This raises an important question, though, regarding the current state of the housing market.
Okay, what's the question?
Why is this specific educational framework so necessary right now? Why can't a buyer just hop online, pick a floor plan, and sign a mortgage? Why do we fundamentally need a Coach JB or Renee Washington to intervene?
Honestly, my assumption is just decision fatigue. The sheer volume of choices and financial landmines in a 2020s new build is paralyzing for a normal person.
Decision fatigue is a massive factor. Modern real estate, particularly in new construction, is overwhelmingly complex.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
A buyer isn't just picking a house color anymore. They are navigating builder supply chain updates, integrating complex smart home technology, managing fluctuating interest rates.
What's the interest rates alone?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And understanding highly specific financing contingencies. The cognitive load is massive, and the stakes are existential. For the vast majority of families, this will be the single largest, most heavily leveraged financial transaction of their entire lives.
And when people are faced with that level of complexity without a guide, they just freeze.
They absolutely freeze.
Yeah.
And paralysis leads to two outcomes.
Neither of which are good, I assume.
Right. Either they panic and make poor, uninformed financial decisions that haunt them for decades, or they opt out of the market entirely and miss their window to build generational wealth.
Both awful options.
Exactly. So by centering their entire business model on actively educating the buyer, by taking the time to decode the jargon and treat every buyer's unique financial reality with patience, New Home University does something remarkable.
What's it?
They take a highly stressful, inherently adversarial transaction and transform it into an empowering milestone.
They are essentially operating on the premise of, we aren't going to sell you a house until we have successfully taught you how to buy one.
Precisely. And if you examine the business logic behind their philosophy, that relationships are everything, it is a brilliant long-term strategy.
Because of word of mouth?
Yes, and more. An educated buyer who feels supported, heard, and confident in their financial choice is going to move into that new community and be a deeply positive, stabilizing force.
That makes a lot of sense.
They're going to advocate for the builder. They're going to refer their friends. It creates a symbiotic feedback loop where the education process directly improves the quality of the neighborhood itself.
It is a masterclass in shifting the dynamic from extraction to empowerment.
It really is.
Which brings us to the end of our journey today. We have covered a tremendous amount of ground unpacking these sources.
We started by looking at a vast patch of dirt in Maryland and ended up dissecting a pedagogical philosophy on adult financial education.
We really did. We unpacked the staggering physical scale of Watermark at Westphalia, exploring what it actually takes to spawn a mid-sized village of 636 homes.
And we dug deep into the behavioral sociology of the first families.
Yes, discovering how that pristine blank slate allows residents to weave a new cultural fabric free from historical baggage. We analyzed the cross-generational engineering of modern townhomes.
Solving the riddle of how one high-density community can perfectly serve so many different demographics.
Budget-conscious first-time buyers, growing families needing vertical space, and downsizers escaping yard work, all in one place. And finally, we examined the new home university model, proving that treating buyers as students rather than targets fundamentally changes the real estate experience.
It provides an incredibly comprehensive lens on how modern communities are conceptualized, built, and populated.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? Why should you spend your time caring about a real estate development in Upper Marlboro?
That is the big question.
Because whether you are actively navigating the market for a brand new home, or you are simply fascinated by the hidden mechanics of human behavior, understanding how these communities are intentionally designed and sold offers incredible insight into how we end up choosing the places we spend our lives.
It really does.
The high-density architecture physically shapes our daily interactions. The promise of a blank slate speaks to our deep psychological desire for agency, and the sales process, when rooted in genuine education, has the power to alter our financial trajectories.
It is the architecture of human connection, built from the ground up. But there's one final piece of this puzzle, a concept teased at the very end of the source materials that we haven't resolved yet.
Ah, right. The teaser regarding the hidden value of timing.
Exactly. The source material closed by mentioning a topic slated for their future discussion, quote, "Why buying early in a new community can make a big difference." Now, the financial perks of being an early buyer are pretty obvious. You get in at ground floor pricing before the builder raises rates, and you get your pick of the premium lots. But I want to leave you, the listener, with a much broader sociological question to mull over on your own.
Oh, I love these. Give us something to chew on.
Beyond the obvious real estate equity, what is the long-term social power of being an early adopter in a massive new neighborhood? Think about those very first 20 or 30 families who buy into a 636 home development when it's mostly just raw dirt, blueprints, and framing.
They are the pioneers.
They are the founders. They are the ones who established the first neighborhood watch. They organized the first block party. They set the tone for how neighbors resolve disputes. How did those initial handful of families end up shaping the personality, the values, and the ultimate future of that community for decades to come, long after the final home is built?
Wow. It really circles all the way back to our theater analogy at the start. If you are the first one to walk into that empty auditorium, you aren't just an actor learning your lines anymore. You are the director.
Exactly.
And you get to decide what the entire play is going to be about.
You are writing the cultural script for the next 20 years.
That is a wildly powerful thought to end on. We will leave you to think about how you might write your own script. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, and we'll catch you next time.